All right, Lions Kingdom, sharpen those claws and get ready. Because something is stirring beneath the surface of Detroit's defensive lair, something that could shake the very foundations of this team's quest for glory. Smash that like button if you feel the roar coming, because this season might just be the one that turns everything upside down. Now, let's ask the hard questions. Despite the fierce hope pinned on Aidan Hutchinson's recovery from that brutal leg fracture, is one star saver truly enough to carve a path to the Super Bowl? The fans have waited too long, the hunger is too deep, and the clock is ticking on the team's defense that sputtered with only 37 sacks last season, far too little bite from the edge rushers who were supposed to terrorize quarterbacks. With Zadarius Smith now a ghost of past seasons, having been released and never returning to the fold, the Lions find themselves oddly exposed, missing that relentless, intimidating force that can flip games in a heartbeat. Could this be why whispers are swirling about a seismic move in Detroit's defensive front? Enter Trey Hendrickson, the Cincinnati Bengals all-pro edge rusher who exploded last year with a staggering 17.5 sacks and a defensive presence that shook the league. Imagine pairing that ferocity alongside Hutchinson, creating arguably the fiercest edge rushing duo the NFL has ever seen occur. Dynamic force that could send opposing offenses scrambling and transform Detroit from hopeful contenders into legitimate champions. But why would a team with Hutchinson and his looming contract questions look to wrestle for Hendrickson from a franchise like Cincinnati? Because the market for elite pass rushers just exploded with Myles Garrett's record-shattering deal, driving up the cost and complexity of signing top talent. Hendrickson's own future remains a cliffhanger, tied up in them trying to hammer out or fail at a long-term deal with the Bengals, who slapped him with a one-year $21 million extension, but have yet to secure his long-term services. ESPN's Adam Schefter recently highlighted how those talks are nowhere near a resolution, casting shadows on the Bengals' ability to hold on to their star edge rusher. If the Bengals reach their breaking point, the league will erupt with offers, and Detroit stands among the most intriguing suitors. But here lies the rub. To land Hendrickson would demand Detroit's front office to sacrifice premium draft picks, likely starting with a first-rounder, and dive into a financial gamble that could render future big contracts for Hutchinson a Herculean task. Could the Lions afford such a bold gamble? Could the allure of potentially creating the most feared edge-rushing tandem in all 32 teams be worth the risk of tying their own stars' hands? And what would it mean for the locker room chemistry, the salary cap, and the team's identity? On defense, the rumors are swirling, the stakes are massive, and the clock on free agency and trade talks is ticking deafeningly loud. Will Detroit roar with newfound ferocity, or will this aggressive chase for Hendrickson crumble under the weight of reality? The edge is razor thin, and the next moves could define this franchise's direction for years to come, so hold tight, Lions fans, because this offseason just might be the most thrilling and suspense-filled chapter in Detroit football history. Hold on to your helmets. Detroit, because this roar isn't just a cry, it's a battle hymn rising from the depths of Ford Field, echoing off the concrete and through the hearts of fans starved for triumph. Picture it, the ghost of Barry Sanders darting between the stands, reminding us that greatness is not just possible, it's our birthright. Inside the locker room, a palpable tension crackles as veterans and rookies alike weigh the implications of this potential seismic shift. The whispers grow louder. What if the front office pulls the trigger on that blockbuster edge rusher trade? The meeting rooms hum with strategic debates. Could parting with that coveted first-round pick be the only way to forge a defense that haunts rival quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes under relentless pressure? Imagine Hendrickson, relentless and fierce, collapsing their pocket alongside Hutchinson, whose return from injury is quietly defying expectations, already showing flashes of his unstoppable 2021 form with 13.5 sacks and drive-stopping plays. Insider sources suggest locker room leaders are divided, some craving the immediate trophy shot, others fearing the long-term cost to team cohesion and salary cap breathing room. Yet there's no denying the magnetic pull of rewriting Detroit's defensive narrative, a chance to shed decades of disappointment and ascend as a nightmare for offenses across the league. Envision the cascade of consequences. In practice, wide receivers flinch at Hendrickson's bull rushes, and Hutchinson's signature swim move sends linemen sprawling to the turf. In 10-man drills, backup QBs tremble before blitz packages ripped. From opponent playbooks, as defensive coordinators whisper, "It's finally our time," over headset chatter. Across the division, Vikings play-by-play guys will have to rewrite scripts on the fly. Packers podcasts will erupt with speculation about whether Rodgers can weather a double-teaming dat. Detroit's new front could dispense every single series. And Bears Nation will be tuning in nervously mid-season, muttering about defensive posture that rivals anything they've seen since the Suggs era in Baltimore. The heat map of opponent game plans will turn crimson along Detroit's edge, and analytics gurus in the press box will revise win probability charts, tipping the scales toward a Lions team nobody dared count in the preseason. Off the field, this potential move ripples into draft war rooms and cap spreadsheets, where executives crunch numbers on incentives and cap hits, some arguing that the price of a cap casualty today could buy 2 premium picks tomorrow, while others insist that roster stability demands restraint. The city itself feels this momentum. Restaurant TVs buzzing with trade chatter, barstool analysts dissecting film breakdowns on loop, and social media feeds lighting up with #RoarReborn. Imagine the sight when that trade goes through. Hendrickson rolling into town on a private jet, his locker awaiting nameplate, the roar of 65,000 fans greeting him like a conquering hero. Picture Hutchinson and him running lap sprints together, high-fiving after every sack drill, a newfound camaraderie cementing the defensive identity. Still, every legend has its doubt. Will Hendrickson recapture the 14-sack magic that once drew Pro Bowl buzz? Can Hutchinson sustain double-digit takedowns across a full slate after missing half the season? And what about the ripple effect on the secondary? Will slanted defensive schemes expose C.J. Gardner-Johnson to overcommitment? Could injuries bite again in December, leaving Detroit scrambling once more? The very stakes that elevate this potential trade to near-mythic status also cloak it in risk. But isn't that the essence of glory, that you only earn it by staring down uncertainty and charging forward anyway? So, Lions faithful, feel that electric energy coursing through your veins as this decision nears. Will we gamble our future? Draft capital on a defensive force that could rewrite playoff history? Or will we hold tight and trust in the slow burn of internal growth? As the winter chill settles and blue and silver banners flutter above Woodward Avenue, one question thunderclaps in every roar. Do we seize this moment to become the hunted no more, but hunters ourselves? Who among us will rise to answer that call? And are we ready to stake everything on a thunderous future forged by fire and will?